Good morning. I am Kenyon McDuffie, Councilmember for Ward 5 and Chair of the Council's Committee on Government Operations. Today is Monday, April 28th, 2014, and we are in room 123 of the John A. Wilson Building. The time is 10:10 a.m. I'm calling to order this hearing of the Committee on Government Operations. This is the third budget oversight hearing for this committee dealing with the mayor's proposal for the fiscal year 2015 budget. The council now has its opportunity to examine and mark up the budget. As a part of that process, we will be hearing from the following agencies today: the Office of the Advisory Neighborhood Commission, the Office of the City Administrator, and the Executive Office of the Mayor. I look forward to hearing from the agencies on their proposed budgets and from any public witnesses who might have suggestions on how the agencies might spend our district dollars. We'll begin with you, Mrs. Samba. And
all right.
Good morning. Actually, I think we're in the afternoon now. It's 12:03, so good afternoon to both of you.
All right, good afternoon, Mr. McDuffie. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, and to all the honorable members of the Committee on Government Operations. Thank you for the opportunity to testify on behalf of the Office on African Affairs and to share some critical statistics on the African diaspora living in the District of Columbia. I am Mamadou Samba. I am a member of the Commission on African Affairs. I am originally from Dakar, Senegal, a current sister city to the District of Columbia since 2006. I am a former Cap City Fellow, which is a mayoral initiative to recruit and to attract and recruit recent graduates to come and work for the district. And it is through this opportunity that I had the opportunity to work in the Mayor's Office on African Affairs between 2011 and 2012, where I wore several hats, including a French liaison to the African community. I've not only supported the office, but I've worked very closely with the Commission on African Affairs in serving the district African immigrant communities, which eventually led to my nomination to be on the Commission on African Affairs. From what we know, and from what you've heard earlier from earlier testimonies, the District of Columbia gets an average of 1,200 new residents in the district per month, contributing to the swift increase in the district overall population and to its tax base. It should not be a surprise to learn that as the district population increases at such a fast pace, so does the number of foreign-born residents, particularly the number of African immigrants. According to a study that was conducted by the George Mason University Center for Regional Studies, for regional analysis, for which the studies, the results were also published in the Washington Express in February 2012. I quote here: the rank of Washington area residents born outside the United States swelled by 200,000 between 2005 and 2010, for a surge in the African immigrant population that proportionally exceeded that of every major metropolitan area except for Seattle and Houston, respectively. In the same article, it was also indicated that of all the immigrant communities residing in the area, the African-born residents increased at a higher pace, 30% to be exact, and experts predict that this trend will likely continue even more than residents from Latin America. These findings are consistent with my own findings and with data collected from a multitude of sources, including the 2010 census, the American Community Survey, and the Migration Policy Institute, just to name a few. The African immigrant population currently living in the District of Columbia hovers above 16,000, slightly estimated between 17 and 20% of the total foreign-born population. However, when we factor in known population undercount and the lack of data, we can confidently predict that the real number of African immigrants is above 18,000, most of whom live in Ward 1, 2, 4, and 8, respectively. Nationally, 41% of African immigrants held a bachelor's degree and 17% held a graduate or professional degree in 2010. In the Washington metropolitan area, 42% of African immigrants held a bachelor's degree or higher, making African immigrants the highest educated immigrant group in the United States. In fact, the African population is noted to be the most likely to hold a doctorate, a PhD, or a graduate degree among all foreign-born residents in the United States. This is particularly important when we consider the area's strong projected growth in technology and green jobs, improvement in the construction industry, and population expected to increase by 700,000 by 2025. According to Randy Capps, a senior policy analyst at the Migration Policy Institute, African immigrants are projected to be the fastest growing groups for some time, particularly with the area's demand for highly educated and skilled workforce. Yet despite high education achievement, unemployment and underemployment in our community remains very high compared to other immigrant groups, and a large number of African immigrants live under the poverty line. I found it very intriguing during my research that health surveillance data fail to accurately and consistently account for vital information such as country of birth and language spoken information. For example, data collected by the DC Cancer Registry between 1996 and 2009 show that 74% of cancer cases did not report country of birth information. Among those where country of birth was reported, 1% of patients are from Africa. Having a standardized surveillance reporting mechanism that provide country of birth and language spoken will help in future research, enable policymakers, district agencies, and community-based organizations to better analyze trends over time for more effective implementation of outreach programs to better address health disparities, language barriers, cultural stigma, and stereotype.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to get through. I do have your written statement here. I don't know if you want to summarize.
Let me just conclude by saying that several policy recommendations were forwarded to help the district address these challenges, including investing in resources for culturally targeted and education programs, investing in African immigrant workforce development, and supporting a strong and vibrant Office on African Affairs. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your testimony here this afternoon. Ms. Tali Hobby, good afternoon.